Welcome to NMS, guys. As you can see behind me, we've got the good old-fashioned food pyramid. Now, the food pyramid started back in the 80s, I believe. Okay, maybe late 70s, 80s. And it was suggested as the best way to eat, obviously, to maintain health. Now, as we can see from this food pyramid, the majority of our foods come from things like grains, breads, pastas, so forth. Then we've got fruit, we've got vegetables, then we've got meat, we've got dairy, then we've got sugary foods and fats, okay? Quite confusing really, okay? Because we're supposed to eat a lot of carbohydrates from these areas, a little bit of protein, and then fats, okay? What is wrong with this whole approach? Well, most people aren't actually very good with carbohydrates, and the bigger and fatter they get, the worse they get with carbohydrates. So they eat more of these things, their insulin levels go through the roof, and most of what they put on from that is more body fat, and because their insulin is higher and because their blood sugar is all over the place, they have real problems with actually losing weight, okay? They can't do it. This sort of diet has just led to an obesity epidemic. Now, a lot of people will say, oh no, it's just because people eat more food and they don't exercise as much. I can tell you now that when I was younger, I did not see anywhere near as many obese people as what I've seen now, okay? And they eat a lot more grains, they eat a lot more fruits, they eat a lot more sugary foods, especially some of the foods from up here. But if you actually look at what the majority of people are eating and what you can get from takeaway restaurants, comes from this, with fatty sources of this, and a hell of a lot of the sugary foods that we probably shouldn't be eating. All right, so now we've gone from a food pyramid to people going, oh, I'm going to get healthier. I'm going to eat a lot of fruit. Fruit's really good. I've heard that fruit's really good for you. It's like really healthy for you. So they eat more of this sort of thing. Lots and lots of it. They eat fruit for breakfast, and they have it for snacks, and they have it for lunch, and they have it for dinner. But then they're like, why not losing weight? And really what it comes down to is they're still insulin resistant, and now they've got all the sugar coming in, okay? So this is not a balanced diet either. It's basically just sugar in a bowl, okay? And if you look at this, there's a shitload of sugar in this, okay? There's a lot of sugar. So it's not really the best option, and it certainly wouldn't be an option that I would put people on, is a fruit diet. Even if they were vegetarian, I would not give them as much fruit. I'd give them more vegetables, probably more nuts, and more things that have actually got less carbohydrates, more fats, more vitamins, more minerals. Okay, this has got vitamins and minerals, but it's just sugar in a bowl. Okay, so then obviously this doesn't work. So now they get a little bit panicky. So now that panic has set in, now they're looking for something even more different. So they've gone from the fruit diet, the food pyramid diet, okay, which has made them fat, the fruit diet, which is, compounding that insulin resistance. Then they go, oh, insulin is bad. Yeah, it is to an extent, but it's also good to an extent, okay? But they go to this carnivore diet. Oh, I'm just going to eat meat. Fatty serves of meat. The more fat, the better. Now, for a person who's really obese, obviously what they want to do is they want to be able to burn fat, understood, yep, keto diet, burn more fat, tick, tick, but they want to lose fat as well, right? But they're in a calorie surplus, okay? Oh, but I don't have to worry about calories because the carnivore diet says, hey, this is awesome. You can eat all the meat you want and you'll lose weight. But then a lot of them don't lose the weight. Now, why is that? Because they're overeating, okay? So then they're looking around for the next sort of diet. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I'm not losing weight. Carnivore diet's not quite working for me. So now we go to the next step, the intermittent fasting diet. So we're only going to eat for 8 hours, sometimes 4 hours. Okay, this is obviously this picture is an 8 and 16. So you fast for 16, you eat for 8. But this is really hard for some people to follow because they follow it, okay, and they think, oh, great, I just won't eat for 16 hours. But that's not actually easy when you're used to eating all day. And then they double up on that and they go, that's all right, I'll be intermittent fasting, and I'll be carnivore. Great, I'm going to lose all this weight. The problem that you've got is that all of these diets can work, right? Carnivore can work, intermittent fasting can work, even a fruit diet can work if you're in calorie deficit. But it's trying to find the diet that suits you best. Now, which diet do I believe suits people the best? Well, that's going to vary from person to person depending on how much body fat they have, how much they have to lose, or even if they're trying to gain muscle. Which diet would I put them on? I'd put people on a keto diet if they were actually had a large amount of weight to lose. If someone is quite obese, the first thing I'd put them on is a keto diet. The reason I do that is because, first of all, it meets the protein demands. You've got your vegetables, okay, so they got fiber. They don't have a huge amount of carbohydrates in them, okay. They're filling. They create, satiety. And a diet has to be satiating, so the meat's satiating, the vegetables are satiating, and they feel fuller, okay? But because they're eating a mix of keto with vegetables, the calories are a little bit lower because, if you're eating all meat, there's a lot of calories in that, but if you're eating meat combined with vegetables, perfect, okay? Don't have too many carbohydrates, you got fiber, it's filling, and probably just better for your digestive system. Now, is this something that I would have someone on for the long term? Probably not, okay? But it suits a need. I'd have people on there and I'd slowly introduce carbohydrates. So what is the end diet that someone would be on once they've got to the point where they've lost a fair bit of weight using the keto diet? So here we have it, guys. Pretty much the finished product. Now, I'd have more orange vegetables in this. Probably have carrots. I'd probably have a little bit of fruit in this as well. It doesn't always have to be exactly like this. But this is, I guess, what we'd like to think of as a bodybuilding style diet. Greens, protein, carbohydrates, just basically making sure that you meet your protein, your carbohydrate demands, okay? And the fat generally comes from the meat and from the oils that you might cook the meat in, okay? You might put some nuts and things like that in there. You can have yogurt and different foods like that, gives you more fats. But really, when we look at it from a natural health perspective, more of a bodybuilding style diet with the carbohydrates to match the activity levels is probably the perfect thing. But it's not always perfect for actually losing body fat, okay, and bringing our insulin resistance down. So to do that, we need to go to probably extremes of diet. And then what we need to do after we've done those extremes is to now balance it out a little bit. You got to keep this in mind, guys. Healthy food, okay, means that it's food that contributes to your health. Now, yes, fruits and vegetables, very healthy. Vegetables, especially, very healthy. But if you're trying to lose large amounts of body fat and your body's in insulin resistance, eating large amounts of sugar and refined carbohydrates is certainly not going to be good for you. But once you've got your fat down to a good level, you can start introducing more and more carbohydrates, and your body will use them quite effectively. It's just not going to use them when you're carrying large amounts of body fat. And the fuller your fat cells are and the more fat they have in them, the more likely you are to go and take those carbohydrates and actually get more body fat from them. And they're going to, because you're having an up and down sugar level, okay, sugar goes down, you feel lethargic, you eat more carbs, you feel good, you eat more sugar. They come down again, you eat more sugar, and you're on this constant roller coaster effect. That's what we don't want, okay? So like I said, we start from more of a keto and we start moving into more carbohydrates. That's the way we deal with someone who's insulin resistant, okay? And we can drop our calories lower when someone's insulin resistant and carrying large amounts of body fat, because the body will get rid of that quite readily. But that low calories can't last forever, so you've got to slowly bump them up, and we do that by adding more carbohydrates. So give it a go, guys, okay? If you need any help, by all means send me a message and I'll be able to help you with your diet. Thanks, guys.